the deadliest carnival rides.
To the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down because today we're talking about carnival rides or state fair.
I feel like carnival ride deaths are definitely more brutal than amusement parks. Even if the rides aren't as scary in terms of height or velocity, you ever been to a carnival? How rickety the rides are? Like, I've been on carnival rides where there's like noticeable rust and it's like and it's like you start spinning and you're like, dude, if one bolt goes loose right now, I am flying 500 fucking meters into the second story of a fucking home and I'm getting decapitated.
Rides. It doesn't really matter. Bad, crazy rides. You know, earlier this year we talked about the horrors of amusement.
And they also like put that shit together on the spot. Like they don't ship it. They have to like assemble it.
Parks. The kind of crazy things that can happen at places that are supposed to bring so much joy. Well, take away all the production value and make it a caravan of nobodies, and by God, you got yourself a carnival. Long are the days of the carnival being something that's full of mystique with freak shows and those elephants that roll on a ball.
Those are circuses.
That's a circus. With fun games and
So the mirror rooms at carnivals are really the dumbest shit in the world. Oh my God, and those scammy ass games. It's only $10 for one try. Oh, and I win a stuffed animal that's worth $40. Then you do 10 tries and you just fucking lose money.
Every one of these, it's always like a giant hydraulic press. Like the whole thing balancing the center of gravity is a hydraulic press on top of an old wooden piece in the middle of like a cracked asphalt, hydraulic fuel, water everywhere. It's never been more wet.
Well, that one doesn't look that dangerous because it's like a kid's ride that goes slow. The ones that are scary are the swing rides right there.
Machines that have to be repeatedly dismantled.
This shit. This is sketchy, right? And it's not very high. It's not like the ones at Six Flags where you're fucking 300 feet in the air. But you're going around, you're horizontal. Your swing's all the way the fuck over here. You're going 70 miles an hour around in a fucking circle. That shit detaches. You just fly into the trailer and die.
And put back in a very short time.
I threw up on one of those this year. You threw up on a swing ride?
Period. You're talking
That's
about...
actually really fucking funny. I'm sorry. That's really funny.
They bring these things into these parking lots. They unfold them out. And I'm going to guess that there's not a lot of regulations. I don't think...
You're going on the swing ride? Oh!
While your typical amusement park may seem more dangerous because of the scope and size of the rides, these things are constantly inspected and tested to ensure that the ride is safe as can be. But on the other hand, carnival rides are these giant traveling death machines that have to be repeatedly dismantled and put back up in a very short period of time. You fold it all up like a giant goddamn transformer cube, move it across state lines, and just keep doing that over and over again. And I'm gonna guess that I don't think that they probably do it right every time. I think, you know what, sometimes they might have had a little bit too much to smoke, a little too much to drink, a little forgetful. Okay? They might be in town for only 1 week before moving off to the next location, having to rebuild it once more. This not only puts a lot of the wear and tear on the equipment, but more importantly, makes carnival rides more prone to human error if the ride is not reconstructed properly.
Let me just tighten that up there.
Over 2,000 people are injured by carnival rides each year.
The bolt was loose?
I thought it was going to be substantially more. But to be fair, the amount of people showing up...
Wait, how many are injured per year? Over 2,000 people injured from carnival rides each year. I feel like it would be like 20,000. But not that many people go to carnivals anymore. I'm pulling that out of my ass. I have no statistics to back that up. But I feel like carnivals are just fucking stupid. Like, people would rather just go to an amusement park.
Each year, I thought it was going to be substantially more. But to be fair, the amount of people showing up to the carnival or state fairs, you'd have to assume is dwindling. There's no way it could be something...
Because why not just go to a fucking Six Flags, right? The rides are better, the food's better, it's cheaper, and you don't get scammed at the games. Like, actually. Like, you have to pay a lot. Like, Six Flags is not cheap. Like, it's probably like $50, $60 just for an entry ticket. But, like, there's way more rides, and they're safer and better. Scarier. More thrilling. Stuff like that.
Not to mention, there are so many videos of horrible things happening at these state fairs and carnivals that it's practically acts as its own advertising to not show up. Like that clip of the ride that almost toppled over. Luckily, a bunch of people stepped in and stabilized the ride by jumping on it.
A carnival ride is out of control.
You gotta be kidding me.
In almost all these situations we're going to find here, almost always the
Yo, and it's always a really tan white guy with a wife beater smoking a cigarette that handles the rides. He's just fucking sitting there, just long drink. Get on! Just flicks a lit cigarette into a fucking patch of dry grass. All right, start it up. It starts going, and you're like, yay! We're a 17-year-old high off their ass. Yeah, we're a fucking senior in high school that's just like, I don't know, man. I just press the buttons, dude. Just get on the ride.
Could you not just hit the off button or unplug it or whatever's giving it power? Just strip the power.
With that one, the guy ran.
Oh, the guy lost control of it. He just ran. Oh my God, I can't. They're like all just on train.
Well, yeah, because he's not legally liable. The owner of the carnival is. That man don't give a fuck. He just operates the fucking buttons. If everybody dies on the ride, it's not his fault. It's
Who sees this giant carnival ride? They're like, we gotta get on that, man. Everyone going over there, good God.
It happened at the Cherry Festival in Traverse City, Michigan.
Get over
here. Let's start off with the Ohio State Fair Fireball Ride. At the Ohio State Fair in 2017, the popular ride Fireball malfunctioned and led to 7 injuries and the death of a young 18-year-old man. Gonna say this now, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of young people death. And I'm not laughing.
well, because those are the people that go to carnivals. I mean, like, nobody. When you go to a carnival, the average age of somebody at a ride is probably like 16, 17. Like, just a Twitch chatter in my chat right now is probably going to a carnival. Like, even at a Six Flags, the average age is probably like 20. You're not seeing like an old man on the fucking double shot at a carnival.
The Fireball was a giant pendulum race 40 feet off the ground that would swing back and forth while spinning at the same time. The accident was said to be caused by excessive corrosion. I like how also they're just like, so I have an idea for a ride. We'll swing giant metal bars.
And what's also like shitty is, say you die at a Six Flags, your family's gonna get very well compensated. Likely. I would assume, just because Six Flags makes a lot of money and it's a big conglomerate chain. Carnivals are like broke. Like, carnivals is like a band of people that are driving around the United States to do pop-up shops of sketchy rides. If their rides are just casually breaking often, they're probably not going to have that much money to give to your family when you fucking get decapitated on the slingshot.
A video taken by an attendee shows a group of seats attached to the pendulum breaking off mid-ride, causing multiple people to be flung 20 to 30 feet into the air before plummeting to the ground. It's a hard video to watch. You know what's weird too is every time I see one of these videos, I'm always like, why the f would you get on this ride? Every time I'm like, you could not pay my fat ass to get on this ride, especially with the guy who's just like, buckle up and be safe.
I'm never scared of Six Flags rides, though. Like, I've been to like 2 or 3 carnivals in my life, and I will say I'm scared. Like, I have adrenaline on Six Flags rides, but that's from me being like, oh, this is going to be a drop, right? I'm not like actually scared of my life. Whereas when I go on a carnival ride, it's one of those ones that spins you so you get hooked to a, like the momentum and the gravity is pulling you to the side, and then it goes fully vertical, and the only thing holding you in is a seatbelt. Like, you're not strapped in. It's just a little seatbelt. So if the ride were to just randomly stop, your whole body would plummet onto a fucking 1-inch thick piece of leather. Literally this is actually the fucking ride that I've been on. And you have like little handlebars, right? And I understand with the momentum, you're not going to die. But like, you're just held. The only thing holding you from not falling to your death is the fact that you're spinning. So if like something breaks, you're just gonna like the seatbelt that's strapping in your lower body is not gonna fucking hold you down.
Among those injured, 3 were reported to be in critical condition. All rides were immediately closed for additional safety.
Oh no, that one's fire though. You ever go on this one and you're like, and you're trying to fucking stand up? It's really uncomfortable. Where you're like literally stuck to the side and you're like head sideways and you start having a mini panic attack because you're like, I can't fucking move. And that guy in the middle, you just see him hitting his cart. Some fucking some song that just doesn't match the vibe is playing. Sweet home Alabama. And you're just fucking going. Like you're about to pass out. The G-forces are like, the G-forces feel like it's like you're in a fucking jet engine where the sky's also blue, and you're just fucking sitting there.
The incident created a wave of fear amongst park goers, and carnivals across the country began shutting down rides that were similar to the Fireball or were made by the same manufacturer. The G-Force ride at the Orange County Fair was shut down due to its similarities to the Fireball. Likewise, the Beach Blaster ride at Belmont Park in San Diego was also shut down. The G-Force and the Beach Blaster, the Fireball, come on, dude. Like they're just like, sorry, buddy, take down the G-Force and the Beach Blaster. It's a goddamn death trap. Or we could talk about the 11-year-old scalped at the Cinco de Mayo Carnival.
This one's actually pretty tragic.
I think they're all gonna be tragic, Nick. 11-year-old Elizabeth Gelreath was scalped, blinded, and nearly killed after the ride in the King's Crown at a carnival in Omaha, Nebraska. Scalped, blinded, and nearly killed. Elizabeth attended a Cinco de Mayo carnival with her mother in 2016.
Wait, have we heard about this?
It chose the King's Crown to be her first ever carnival ride. It was her first ride? Yeah. Oh my
God. First ride is even worse. Holy shit. And you know she was so scared and everybody was like, no, just go on the ride. It'll be fun. She's like, okay. She's like excited.
The King's Crown ride consisted of a series of crown-shaped seats that would spin at high speeds, similar to the spinning teacups ride at Disneyland, dude. At one point, Elizabeth's long red hair became entangled in the mechanisms. As the ride continued to spin, her hair and scalp were being slowly peeled off her head. You know what's too is, you know, she was screaming in pain, but people were just...
And everybody else is sitting there also on the ride just going...
She said she blacked out.
You would have to black out. With that kind of pain? Oh, dude. I would be fucking beg God, I'd say. Black me the fuck out, dude. Bystanders stated the ride went on for 10 minutes as it ripped and pulled
10 minutes?
at Elizabeth's scalp. Eventually, her hair was severed, freeing her, but Elizabeth suffered critical injuries to her head. Even the muscles that were connected to her eyes were seriously damaged as well. Her fucking hair got ripped so hard that it blinded her. Because of this, she couldn't see or speak and had to communicate through the squeezing of her hand while in the hospital. You know the expression, you get dealt a bad hand? This is a hand covered in diarrhea. That is unbelievable. Elizabeth described the feeling to her mother, saying that it felt like her head was smushed. Elizabeth had to undergo several skin grafts, head surgeries, and an eye surgery, and multiple blood transfusions. Despite the tragedy, she was in high spirits and even insisted on making a public appearance alongside her mother. Elizabeth was praised for a surprisingly positive outlook, stating, "My scars don't define me. Nobody's scars should define them."
Scars don't define me. Nobody's scars should define them.
She is taking this way better than I
Oh
am.
my God, way better than I would. Oh, I would be fucking pissed, dude.
Ever would. I would be kicking and fucking screaming. Way more emotionally mature than I could ever be. Her mother has filed ongoing lawsuits against the state of Nebraska, as well as a company that manufactures the carnival rides.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, they should get fucking $2 million for this shit.
Citing negligence. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
How do you allow some spinning part?
How do you allow it? I'll tell you why. Is because the guy running the machine should have no business touching any of that equipment. I don't think I've ever been to a carnival where...
Yeah, I've never... Yeah, that is true. I've never been to a carnival where the guy manning the ride makes me feel safe. It's literally... Oh my God, like a stained tank top.
But we move on to a teenager who died at the church carnival. A 16-year-old girl passed away after being flung from a ride called the Sizzler. I think with the amount of injuries that are happening at these carnivals, I think it should be a...
Do they have roller coasters at carnivals? No, right? They only have like spinny things. They have like spinny rides. Maybe I've never seen a roller coaster at a carnival. It's always just these like amusement rides where it's just like something that whirls you but also spins on its own at once.
Ride called the Sizzler at St. Thomas Aquinas Church Carnival in East El Paso, Texas. The Sizzler was a popular spinning ride made for all ages. During the ride, the woman was ejected from her seat and was struck by a metal barricade. Her friend who sat beside her was also launched out the ride. Okay, I wasn't laughing. It's just the idea. You can't put launched in there without it being cartoonish, okay? That is fucking horrible. Being flung and then just being immediately smashed by a fucking barricade. The girl died at the hospital soon after, and her friend luckily survived and did not receive any life-threatening injuries. So at least thank God. But an investigation began, but there was
Bro, but you know how upset you would be? Like, you go to the carnival with your best friend, you both get flung off the ride, and your friend dies and you don't.
no word of legal action being taken by
I mean, like, you'd be happy you're alive, but I'd be like, the fuck, dude?
the victim's family. Dude, Don't worry.
The guilt the girl has, I don't think she'll have guilt. I mean, maybe survivor's guilt to a degree, but not guilt in the sense of like, oh, it's my fault we went on the ride.
This isn't the last that we'll hear of the Sizzler, because we go on to when the Sizzler took another life. The same ride in 2019 while attending the Deerfield Township.
Dude, this is like recent shit. I thought it would be like 2001 or like the 90s. 2019. I mean, that was like 5 fucking years ago, but still, like, I was expecting most of these to be like, yeah, 1995, they just didn't screw on the bolts on the fucking whoop-de-washer, right? And it just fucking killed everybody.
Haley McMullen was thrown from a ride called the Extreme Super Sizzler. They made it more powerful. It's a goddamn Dragon Ball Z transformation, dude. Similar to the normal Sizzler, it is a ride consisting of several suspended cars spinning horizontally at high speeds. All of these ran with 4 lawnmower batteries. And a guy brought it up literally at his F-150, and it's like, don't worry, we took 7 minutes to prepare this when we got here. Have fun. It is important to note that while the ride was equipped with safety bars, there was no seat belts. Well, the bars should hold you in.
Oh, they never have. Dude, and the only time they have seat belts, it's like, you need more than a seat belt.
Do we have any seat belts?
It's like at Six Flags or any other amusement park, if the ride goes in a loop or where you're like more than just like at a certain angle, they have to put a whole chest cage rather than just a waist cage. But at a carnival, it's like, oh, you go upside down? Here's a handlebar. Oh, you're just spinning really quickly? Nah, the G-forces will hold you in.
After being thrown out the ride, Haley tried to get up from under the ride's operating platform, but was repeatedly struck in the process. This led to serious brain injury. So she was flown from it, tried getting up, and just kept doing it. She was airlifted to the hospital as soon as possible, but died an hour later. The inspection reports that were released seemed to show that the ride was in full compliance with safety regulations.
Bro. Oh my God, full compliance with safety regulations, so they're not even going to get anything. So she fell off the ride and possibly would have lived if she stayed down, like, and laid on the ground, but then got up and it whacked her in the head, fell, got up, whacked her in the head, killed her.
Or we could talk about the Carnival Tower. In 2022, during a traveling carnival in India, 16 people were injured after a malfunction with a drop tower carnival ride. These always scared the shit out of me. Looks like a weird flying saucer. I almost expect those motherfuckers to just...
The drop carnival ride, I'm always, I will always say I'm worried that it won't slow down. The hydraulics don't work. I've seen some of these carnivals in India, though, where like people are sleeping in tents under the roller coaster, and I'm like, Jesus, dude.
You know what I mean? After rising 50 feet into the air, the carousel tower plummeted down and slammed onto the ground. The impact was so intense that the passenger seats bounced into the air from sheer force.
Wow. Yo, that probably broke so many people's spines.
Oh, God. How many people do you think just, like, immediately shattered their pelvis? I mean, like, on the impact.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't die, but it would just break so many bones in your body.
Like, your pelvis, and probably broke their spine or something. Oh, my God. You see people... God damn, it's like toss of a coin. According to an eyewitness, the bouncers of the rides were trying to threaten us. Later, the employees of the organizers also...
Bouncers of the ride tried to threaten us after the ride collapsed? Yo, I would put that motherfucker into a grave. If, like, my son was on that ride and he got his shatter spine, he's getting fucking ambulance to a hospital because he broke half the bones in his fucking body, and that bouncer's like, starts pressing me. Yo, I would actually just kick that motherfucker's ass.
The Mohali police described the organizers as, quote, negligent, and stated that they wish to take strict action against those responsible. There has been no update since. Wow, God, really good job. We need to make sure these people come to justice. How's it going? Oh, they're gone. They ran to the woods. We couldn't find them. They're gone. In 2019, a 9-year-old child was injured standing next to a carnival ride at a carnival in Midlothian.
Yo, whenever I watch these rides, I've seen the motherfuckers. Dude, the last time I went to a carnival, it was like a worker, and it was right before it closed. He got on the ride, and he was like clearly high, and when it would go to the top, he would jump, right? But it would keep him up, and then it would slowly fall down, and he would swing back. I was like, dude, if he falls out of his seat, he's just gonna actually die. Like, literally splat, hit the ground.
One of the rides, the Ferris Fury, which is a giant swinging ship with 2 large heads on either side, smashed into the neighboring ride. The force of the impact caused the ride's giant pharaoh head to break off, fly into the air, and land directly on top of the child. That's just, once again, bad luck.
Almost comedic.
Exactly. It's like... According to a witness, we were sitting behind the head when it fell off and hit the kid. We looked down and it was laying on top of him and his head was full of blood. What a fucking haunting quote.
Wow.
Also, I feel like they could have been a little more respectful. You know, he looked around, that kid's face was just covered in blood. Can we get out of here? I want to get stopped by the Dippin' Dot stand.
I mean, I would probably say I would probably be very blunt too. If that shit happened and a news reporter was like, "What did you see?" I'd be like, "We were on the ride and that fucking pharaoh flew off and crushed him. Hit his skull off. There was blood everywhere."
Paramedics transported the boy to a local hospital to treat his injuries. The case is now under investigation. Look at that big
Oh, he didn't die.
ass head too, dude. Or in 2023, a 10-year-old boy named Huntley Daniels was severely injured after being flung off the Moby Dick
Oh, the old Moby Dick. I've been on this before.
ride at Antioch's Taste of Summer Festival. The Moby Dick ride locks down each attendee over the shoulder and rotates clockwise, gradually increasing in speed. According to Huntley, the bar that locked him in kept rising higher and higher with each turn. Oh shit. That's the problem with these things, dude. You cannot yell for help. Especially me as a kid. Anytime I was...
Yeah, because it's so fucking loud. And there's always, and motherfuckers screaming on rides. You say, ah! Bitch, this is me on an amusement park ride. Oh, shit. This is me going on the scariest roller coaster I've ever been on. Oh, fuck. Damn. Like, I'm having fun, but I'm not going, Like, it doesn't annoy me because it's like what you're expecting at an amusement park. But I'm always like, who's screaming?
After trying to push it back down repeatedly, it eventually came undone, causing Elliot to be catapulted. It's not funny, but it's the verbiage of being like catapulted. He's like, oh, it gets undone. He's just, Huntley was in critical condition after the impact, receiving various facial and jaw fractures. There was significant damage to the bones in his legs as well. He was flown to multiple hospitals throughout the whole ordeal and had to receive surgery. An investigation was conducted to confirm if, quote, the incident resulted from a mechanical failure, operator error, or a combination thereof. No further update has been provided. What do these people do on researching this stuff? On following up on justice? There was an investigation to be had. We're getting down to the bottom of it. In time. Or in 2017,
How much do you think the families received? Really depends. Depends how badly they were injured, what ride they were on, what carnival they were at, whose fault it was. Less than $1 million. Even if your kid dies, probably like $500K.
15-year-old girl in China passed away after being thrown off the Travel Through Space ride in China. You can't fucking have a kid get thrown off a ride called Travel Through Space, dude. This feels calculated, is what this feels like to me. This is a ride that moves at very high speeds and it rotates 360 degrees vertically. During the ride, the young woman's seatbelt breaks and the safety bar meant to hold her in place was not tight enough, which sends her spinning around 360 degrees as she holds on desperately to the bar. So it flung her and she was being spun like a disc. This resulted in her slamming up against the pair of iron bars. Bystanders came to her aid and took her to the hospital, where she unfortunately passed away. The woman's family reached a compensation agreement with the park for the wrongful death of their child, which she received essentially 127,000 USD. And apparently, in December of...
That's not worth it for your kid to die.
The ride had passed inspection once again. I don't think these motherfuckers are really looking. I think they're just like, oh, bright colors, cool.
Like, I'd get 127K if, like, you fucking shattered your leg, right? Like, the ride fucking broke your leg. Like, fucked you up, right? But, like, dead?
Administrators ordered companies operating the Travel Through Space ride across the country to immediately suspend its use. Well, this is a heartwarming...
100 mil? No, I would even say that's too much. If your kid dies at an amusement ride, I think you should be financially compensated between $3 and $10 million. Like, if I was at the court and I said, and you were like, yeah, this ride killed my kid, I'd go, you owe them $5 million. I think that's fair. obviously fair in the sense of like, your kid's dead. How do they repay you?
In 2024, an 8-year-old child fell off a carnival ride in Waco, Texas during the Extraco Event Center. It is not specified what ride the young boy was on, but the police found him with his ears sliced open from top to bottom. Well, they found him with his ears sawed in half, basically. It was expected that the child would need surgery by a pediatric plastic surgeon. Although the ride is unknown, the fault of the injury is more so linked to the ride operator, 38-year-old Cody James Harkness.
Wow, dude, that is like actually the guy I envisioned in my head working at a carnival.
The ride operator was determined by the police officers to be under the influence of some type of combination of drugs. That's odd from a carny. That's odd from a carnival ride. That's really? Harkness already had previous convictions for drug possession and drunk driving, which didn't help his case. He was charged with intoxication assault while operating a ride. The condition of the boy is currently unknown. I hope he's okay. This feels like the last, the official beacon of like, if you've done everything wrong in your life, you can still put in a job application at a fucking carnival and get a job. How is that?
And I feel like, carnivals, you really probably don't make much. You're probably getting paid minimum wage and you have to travel all the time.
In 2024, at the Matama Festival in Vigo, a middle-aged man was crushed to death on a ride known as the Grasshopper. The ride consists of a ring of carts that raise up and down while spinning in a circle. According to an eyewitness, one of the arms
that just looks like the off-brand Planters peanut guy.
The ride broke off while it was in the air. This caused the passenger compartment to fall on the ground, trapping the man between the seat and the railing. Oh my God. Firefighters used special equipment to free his body from the machine, but it was too late. The man died at the scene of the accident before he could be taken to a hospital. I wonder how long he was sitting there for. Was it something when they were just like, the fire department's on their way? They couldn't do anything, so it was like 20 minutes, an hour? Who knows? In 2017, Eugene Maharaki passed away from a fatal head injury after falling off the cha-cha.
I feel like carnivals should have this equipment on hand. Am I crazy? If you run a carnival where you're assembling equipment and shit happens often, not like death, but like injuries, you should have like some sort of equipment to be able to free somebody in case they get trapped.
Eugene was placed on one of the outside seats, which were specifically meant for adults and bigger children. As the ride sped up, Eugene slipped out from under the safety bar and was flung onto the side of the ride, striking his head. Because God forbid, the operators can just do their job! It's so frustrating. This child should be alive, but he's just like, I don't f***ing care, dude. You buckled up or not. After being sent to the hospital, it became clear soon that there was nothing that could be done to save him. After being on life support for days, his parents eventually pulled the plug. An investigation began, and the restraints on the ride were deemed to not be compliant with the Australian standards. Evidence was slowly being gathered that suggested that Lucas Kohler, the man operating the ride, should not have been working on the ride on his own, as he was not trained enough to do so. No.
I mean, not trained enough to do so, but that's not his fault. I mean, like, that's whoever put him on that job. Like, if you're the employer, that's not the employee's fault. If it's like, oh, you're deemed unfit to run this ride, well, like, they put me here.
Lastly, let's talk about what happened in the Dominican Republic during the Salcedo Carnival earlier this year. While the incident didn't take place
this year
on a ride, it just goes to show how janky and unprofessional some of these carnivals can be. All of them, every single carnival. You go to a carnival, run away from that thing. The Sisters of Fate are there to cut.
Would you pull the plug on your kid if he was brain dead? Yes.
Your strings of life immediately, okay? During the event, a set of fireworks.
They're dead. They're dead. If you're brain dead, you're clinically written off as dead. You are not coming back.
Without question, just exploded. And it was reported that the fireworks were mishandled and directed at the attention.
Your brain can't be alive without a heart, right? Yeah, your brain can't be alive without a heart, right? Yes. You need a heart to, you would need your heart to be working to be able to have a brain because you need pumping to have a brain, but you need a brain to also have that work, right? Your brain is the central focus of your body, right? Like, if you don't have a functioning brain, the rest of your body doesn't work. They could keep you alive on machinery and make your heart pump artificially, but if you're brain dead, the rest of your body is gone.
These look like bazookas heading towards the guest, don't it?
You better believe it, but hey, but keep your fucking menthol cigarette off that wick, man.
He's like, what? People dancing in full body costumes were suddenly engulfed in flames. It's only funny because it's just full body costumes, and just immediately they're just like, yeah, all these costumes 100% cotton. You know what? It's kind of itchy or whatever, but it's great. And they're just begging to be lit on fire. Amidst the chaos, bystanders rushed to grab water and ice trying to put out the flames. And it was reported that over 15 people, 10 of which were being young children, were extremely burned and had to seek immediate medical attention. Because God forbid we can go a day at a carnival without a child just fucking passing away. God forbid! The people of Mexico collectively donated 3,600 square centimeters of skin grass in order to provide aid for those affected. And that's fucking cool, dude. People are just like, I got enough skin, dude. You want my fucking skin? Here, take it. I feel like I would try to donate mine, but they'd just be like, put it back. They're just greasy, fat skin.
He walks in, I'm willing to donate some of my skin. No.
A 4-year-old getting this on the... Yeah. 5 children have died from the incident. Of course. The youngest of which being a 5-year-old.
Wow.
The world's awesome. The man handling the fireworks was Elvis Santos. He did not have the proper experience or authorization to work with pyrotechnics. The carnival operators, Nick, have broken me. I'm a broken man, I feel like, having to fuck with these carnival operators. Elvis Santos was put under house arrest and charged for his part in the detonating of the fireworks. I don't know how the fuck you could live with yourself, but you know, there it is. In conclusion, this is just the layer of skin off the top of a giant bowl of pudding of carnival accidents, okay? It doesn't matter how fun and how many bright lights are on a machine. If it's attached to an F-150 or operated by a man that you're almost positive is high on meth, don't get on it. Don't let carnivals lure you in with shitty carnival games and funnel cakes, dude.
And it's also, like, not that cheap anymore. Carnivals get, like, pretty expensive. And it's not like an all-inclusive ticket usually, like Six Flags, where it's like unlimited rides for $60. Like, you pay for tickets to go on rides.
And there are too many times. Luckily, I'm still here. Do not let them win. If you have a child that you are taking care of, if it's your child or your friend, you know, my niece, my nephew, keep them away from carnivals because it is a dark, dangerous place. When I say this, I'm going to say this with my chest. I don't trust a single person that works at a carnival.
I would disagree with that. I think some people at carnivals are functionally able to handle the rides that they do, but not maybe more of the complex ones that are like, you know, the ones where people are dying. But like bumper cars, like, you're not going to die at bumper cars. All right, that was a W vid though. Next!